President Bola Tinubu Thursday announced a list of 28 nominees for cabinet positions. The names of the 28 nominees were sent to the Senate for approval on Thursday, and that was 2 days before the deadline. The list includes former governors, economists, finance experts, health experts, lawyers, and allies of Mr. Tinubu who took office on 29th May. Now, among them were former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, former Bola State Governor Dave Umahi, who is also now a senator, and presidential spokesperson Dele Alaki. Welcome to Standpoint. I am Precious Amayu. Now, at least 11 states have no representation in the list of ministerial nominees sent to the Senate on Monday. In the nomination list, President Tinubu left out 11 states, namely Adamawa, Bayelsa, Gombe, Kano, Kebbi, Kogi, Lagos, Plateau, Osun, Yobe, and Zamfara. Now, of the 28 nominees, only 7 are women, which makes up about 25%. In his manifesto document titled Renewed Hope 2023 Action Plan for a Better Nigeria, Mr. President said he will work with the National Assembly to increase women's participation in government to at least 35% of all governmental positions. Also on the list were former lawmakers, 6 lawmakers, Abubakar Momo, Yusuf Tuga, Ekberipe Ekbo, Abubakar Kiari, John Eno, and Sani Danladi. There are at least 3 serving lawmakers on the list: Kiruka Yejocha, Olubumi Tunji Ojo, and Dave Umahi. With the complete list being expected from the presidency to the Senate, how would President Bola Tinubu chart a course for economic recovery as Nigerians are currently feeling the decision of the removal of subsidy? Now, joining me on the program is the chairman, APC United Kingdom, Tunde Doherty. He joins us via Zoom. While in Abuja studio is strategist and policy analyst, Baba Yusuf. Good to have you join us. Well, let me begin with you, Mr. Baba Yusuf, because one of the things that, everyone says about the president, whether you are his ally or you are his opponent, is that, look, he knows how to pick the right talent for the right positions. And so when you look at this particular list, will you say, look, President Tinubu has done it once again?
Thank you, Precious. Antecedents for me are critical considerations when I'm doing projections. And if that is what should be, looking at the team, the initial team, the first batch of ministerial nominees, one can say, yes, the signs are very positive against the hue and cry of some people that felt or feel that the entire nomination should be made up of fresh faces and fresh heads. Maybe so, but absolutely not when you're looking at governance in this kind of situation. So to my mind, the nominations so far look good. We have another batch coming on board. If you look at the dynamics of the nomination, we have 7 women, the highest number in the history of Nigeria. If you do just a straight mathematics, you are having notching up almost 25% of the composition of it's women, which is getting closer to the Beijing affirmative action, in trying to make sure we have more women in cabinet. And importantly, the quality of women in cabinet as nominees is also very exciting. We see some faces of technocrats, diplomats, the likes of Yusuf Tuga, and of course the likes of Mr. Umi Odu, a renowned economics and financial experts. Even the governors that have come back on board have track records of performance. And I think that will be the key watchword for us. Performance to turn around this economy moving forward during this administration is a good one for us. We look forward to the next batch.
But I think you already started touching on it, because there are those who say, look, why not look for people who have never held any office, people who but have the antecedent, maybe in the private sector, who can actually take Nigeria out of where we are today? That some of those names are already recycled, and some of them are already in National Assembly, which means that you're also leaving seats vacant to be filled again. What's your thoughts on that?
My thought on that, Precious, is that governance is not just 1 + 1 is equal to 2, with due respect. Let's take a glance at the bastion of democracy like the United States of America. If you look at the composition of cabinet, it's not just about fresh faces. It's about antecedents, not just from the private sector, but understanding the rudiments of public service. Very important. We need people that will hit the ground running. I am also an apostle of freshness, fresh thinking, fresh faces. But I'm indeed an apostle of a mix of both at this critical point in time. If you look at the United States of America, you have the likes of the current Secretary of Energy, Jennifer. You know, she was a governor of Michigan, Attorney General of Michigan. And if you go back in history, the likes of the prolific Harry Kissinger, who was National Security Advisor and then Secretary of State, holding the dual position from 1973 to 1975, tells you the way and manner governance should be run. If you bring in all the fresh faces at this point in time, the learning curve is what we don't need at this point in time. So a mix of both will be the best package for us moving forward in terms of strength of character, in terms of antecedents, in terms of, you know, capacity and competence, you know, to drive the economy, change it, and also of, you know, with regards to the social angle of it and security. So it's a multidimensional approach to this, you know, over and beyond freshness. We also need delivery capacity to deliver moving forward.
Let me bring Tunde Doherty to the conversation. You are a member of the APC. People have looked at this list and said, look, for some of them, it was more or less almost like a reward for loyalty for those who supported the APC during that election. What's your thought on that?
Thank you very much for having me. The first batch of the nominee has confirmed the statement of the president when they were asking him the question of building, having ministers that are that will be of a political benefit, and he said no. What is going to have is those with competency. And it has shown in the in this nominee that these nominees are blend both political of the mix. You have the political balance and the gender balance in it. Like my colleague Abamoro has just said, that the first time we'll be having the highest number of female in such a capacity as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Yes, it's the resume of all of the nominees are very rich in terms of expectation for delivery. Most of them had performed while they were serving in various capacities, like the governors that were the governors like El-Rufai, Badru, and all of them that are brought into the mix. They have shown themselves to be a capacity builder. They have shown themselves as a technocrat. They have acted without looking back while they were serving either as governor for El-Rufai and as the FCT minister. The mix that we have too, we have the young ones who had capacity, who had transverse strength and the strengths when they were being given opportunities, like those of them that has been in the House of Representatives. We have seen them performed, we have seen them come up high, and we have seen the blend with our brothers like Uncle Dele Alake and Wale Edun. They have been technocrats. They are people that understand His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and they have been there, and they have not. They have just been professional in government, serving and providing services in those capacities that they find themselves. I have no doubt that the president had now made well his promises to build capacity. And what we have today is that capacity that will drive the change, that will renew the change. And if you look at it during the campaign processes, almost all of them put energy, zeal into the campaign. So definitely they know what it is Nigeria wanted, and they know how they have learned about the renew hope, and definitely they know what they are going to do. And now you have people that understand that the president himself is not a president that will just sit down. It's a president that work 24 hours of the day. So they know they are in for a good good time of service for the nation. And if you look at it also, you look at the politics about in it. You look at the the incorporation of the National Working Committee members of the APC into it, the acting national chairman, who is well learned, who is a calm, collected person, who's respected, becoming a minister, and also the most strengthful, energetic young woman, our woman leader in APC, becoming a minister of the Federal Republic. You will see that that blend definitely is a blend that has brought in maturity, technocracy, and
but Mr. Doherty, let me ask you, because one of the things that people will usually talk about is that, look, you want to have a federal executive council where there is sound exchange of ideas and strategies. When you look at this list and you picture the federal executive council, irrespective of whatever portfolio any of them get eventually, do you see that sound exchange of ideas and strategies?
Definitely. That's what I'm talking about, the blend of the nominees, the blend and the mix that we have there. Look, we have those that had transfers, that has excelled while performing as governor, while performing as ministers. We have those that had gone to the National Assembly, that understand what legislation is all about, how to make bills work, and how to lobby and make things work as fast as it's possible. Then we have those that are technocrats that had performed in terms of their job. Take, for example, Kotite from the Nexim Bank. We know what he has done in the re-engineering of that bank, and we see people like Musawa, who is very. She's been special advisor to the president, and all of these people. And we have those that are like we will call those that will stabilize it. They will stabilize the executive in terms of when they put in maturity into it, when they put age into it, so that there will be a kind of a guide in all of them. So it is like a strategic family that are set to deliver, because all of them are unique in their ways. All of them are unique in their ways, and I don't see anything that can cause any conflict within the executive deliberations or dealings. Because, and I see most of them becoming close to others in terms of sharing ideas, in terms of looking at things together holistically, so that whatever they decide is made to work. Just like we have a. Nobody has a monotony of knowledge, but in interaction, in sharing ideas, then we are able to build that strategy that would deliver the best for Nigerians.
Let me take the conversation to Mr. Baba Yusuf. Mr. Baba Yusuf, listening to Tunde Doherty there, he was talking about, look, there is nothing, he doesn't see anything that can, lead to conflict in the council. When you look at some of those names, especially those who have been former governors, people think that, look, some of them have a larger-than-life attitude when you see how they carry themselves and how they speak, and that might be problematic for the president. I want to get your reaction to that, especially on some of those former governors.
I think it's just making a storm out of a teacup, Precious. That can only happen if the president allows it to be. So let us take a step back and look at the personality of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. His character traits, again, his antecedent style of leadership will tell you whether he's going to have a cabinet that will be the one that is controlling him, a situation of the tail wagging the dog, metaphorically speaking. He's a front-facing, forward-thinking, very assertive, president and leader. And all of them know that. And he is a person that does not mince words, in trying to take a decision or in taking any kind of decision. I will see a cabinet that is very, very, interactive and very result-oriented, because if you look at, the time when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Mr. President, was governor of Lagos State, we didn't hear from him, but we heard from members of the cabinet at that time how he allows for critical thinking, how he allows for robust debates and engagements that resulted in the key, developmental strides we saw in Lagos, and even as a regional leader and the leader of the party. So we are going to have a president that is assertive and that leaves nobody in doubt that he's in charge. He will have the political will to drive things. And I have a very strong feeling just based on, antecedents also. That he's a president that will drive a cabinet that will be performance-driven with consequence management, framework in place. So with that kind of leader and with that kind of expectation, of the leader, I don't reckon to see the infighting or the pulling me back, I pull you back, scenario we have seen in the past in other administrations. We expect to see, a very result-oriented, administration moving forward.
Mr. Baba Yusuf, just a minute, because even though some of these people, have ambition, some of them have declared openly how they want to run for, the presidency. Some of them tried this year and couldn't make it through. Some of them, are said to have those ambitions, but have never, openly voiced them. Isn't that also something that could be problematic when someone who says, look, this is the seat that I want, and then you're giving him a national opportunity to parade himself as a national leader? Could that not be problematic?
I call that politics, Precious, and it has happened many times. Remember Mr. John Kerry, the veteran in American politics. He has contested elections against Obama. Obama gave him a key role. We also have the former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. She contested in the primaries with Obama. Obama gave her a key role. Today, we also have John Kerry playing a very key strategic role in the cabinet of President Joe Biden. And it has happened even in the UK. You see the parliament when Boris Johnson emerged, even when Theresa May emerged, and you had the like of Boris Johnson in our team. It's about the maturity of our polity, Precious. It's about the interest of the country, Precious. The people that contested election did that within the ambient of the constitutional provision of our country. And that has been put behind us. And it also reflects the political sagacity of the president to say over and beyond those contestations, how do I rein in the critical values these people will bring in the table for us to move Nigeria forward? You see the dynamism in bringing in even people from other parties. We have Governor Wike coming on board, and we have conversations going. We had conversations going on with the likes of Rabiu Musa Konkoso. It's about providing political balance. It's about bringing people, about inclusivity in trying to harness the way forward. So this is a traditional thing in politics, insofar as that polity is maturing, insofar as the person at the top, the president, is mature. He doesn't have a problem bringing people that contested against him. So far, they have value. So far, everybody knows his place.
Let me talk to Mr. Doherty on this. Mr. Doherty, let me also get your thought on this, because we're trusting on the maturity of the president and the kind of leader that he is. But, I was just asking Mr. Baba Yusuf about the trust on this, the nominees themselves, not to use this as an opportunity to show off, how they could be a better leader for the nation, now that they are put in the national stage, as it were.
Thank you very much. Like my colleague had just said, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that we know is not such a president that does not supervise when it comes to working with him. Anyone that wants to work with Asiwaju should first of all know that one, delivery is key. And we know what is happening in Nigeria now. So whatever ambition that any of the ministers have must not be anything that will be in the front burner. Yes, they could, their performance can, at the end of the day, promote their will or their wishes. But for working with Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you must be ready to deliver. And to the president, delivering is key. So whatever ambition you have, the reason for bringing all of them together is like, look, we have an assignment to deliver for Nigerians. And Nigerians are looking at you because they believe that you have done that in the past. You are able to justify what you have done. And because I've seen that in you, I'm bringing you on board. So our assignment now is to be able to deliver to Nigerians. So when it comes to conflict, Asiwaju is not somebody that will give you an assignment that will sleep. Asiwaju will always monitor and will always want to see you perform. And Asiwaju does not mind when you don't perform. He does not. He won't definitely. He won't leave you. He won't just leave you there. He will make a change. So when it comes to dealing too, all of them are mature individuals. They are mature individuals, and they all know what Nigeria needs now, especially in this time around. We have insecurity to combat with. We have infrastructural deficit to combat with. We have poor educational system to upgrade. We have job to create. We have quite a lot of things to do. You want to tell me that Wike, who has delivered in the state, will now be looking at me rather than for me to perform, to look at my ambition? I don't think so. I believe that they all know what is at stake. And Asiwaju know what is at stake. And I believe that Asiwaju, rather than look at individual or ambition, I think that will not be anybody's hope now or mind now in terms of that. Yes, you can have your ambition. It doesn't matter. But your performance drives your ambition, and your performance at the end of the day will let the people make up their mind that, oh, this man that we thought is able to perform in this ministry that is handed over to him. Oh, maybe in the future, but definitely it's a collective bonding that we have in terms of delivering for the majority of the population, of majority Nigerians. I cannot see anything that will cause friction because we have a very great leader who is leading the team, and we have a no-nonsense leader who will not take liberty for license. And definitely, all of us in Nigeria too. Nigerians are watching. It's Nigeria that will be given the mark of performance to any of the to the ministers in their various portfolio when those portfolios are shared.
Mr. Doherty, let me ask you.
They know the business at hand.
All right, let me ask you, Mr. Doherty, because Nigerians were really hoping that the president will somehow attach the portfolios. That was the expectations, that the portfolios will be attached to this particular list that has been submitted to the Senate, but that did not happen. Why is it always, and it's not just the president, we've seen that in other administrations as well, why is it so difficult in a Nigerian context to attach portfolios to the names that have been sent to the National Assembly?
If you look at those names again and look at their profiles, you know that majority of them can function in any ministry that is ascribed to them. And whatever it is, I believe that the president does not want to make that mistake of giving a portfolio to a nominee, and you now find out that nominee is better off in another ministry. And I believe that it's okay for all of them to go through the screening together, and at the end of the day, portfolios will be ascribed to them. What we need to have first is for us to have the nominee. Then looking at the time frame, to produce to produce ministers. And what we have to get first is, yes, we have the first batch of ministerial nominees. Then after that, their portfolios will now be decided by the president, who will have done a thorough diligence about those portfolios and those that are suitable for each of the portfolios. But when you look at the content of the nominees, you see that majority of them are multifunctional, they are multi-skilled, and I don't see outside of those ones that will be in the key sectors like the Earth Ministry, the Power Ministry, the Works and Housing, and all of that. We have a mix of people who can deliver no matter which ministry they are assigned. And if you look at people, somebody like if you look at Fagbemi is a very sound legal luminary. And we look at somebody like that to hold the Attorney General position and all of that. But definitely, the president has the prerogative to do a thorough diligence about on the nominees before ascribing portfolios to them. So I don't see anything wrong or anything bad in not assigning portfolio before they are presented to the National Assembly.
Well, let me go to Mr. Baba Yusuf, because some will say, look, that's what's obtainable in other climes. So in the U.S., if you're screening, and the screening is even majorly done by the select committees and not the Congress itself, and the portfolios are usually attached just in every climb. It helps you know who you're speaking to and the key issues to raise in that screening. Isn't that supposed to be like the standard practice? what for you is your thought on what a standard practice should be?
First of all, when you get to that level of leadership pressures, you move from the position of being a specialist to a generalist. And that is why you see a president doesn't have a particular specialty. At that position, your skill set of marshalling resources to deliver are key. The critical success factors of every ministry are not just the minister, but the CEOs of those MDAs that are down the radar. The capacity and competence and integrity to marshal those properties are what they are looking for. And just to draw you back, while I agree to a large extent, if you go back a bit to, to the US, about in the 70s, you have a man called, for example, George Shultz, who was at one time Secretary of Labor, he was at one time Secretary of the Treasury, and he ended up becoming the Secretary of State. He is an economist. You have Harry Kissinger, who was NSA and then Secretary of State. The list can go. We have Ben Carson, during the time of Donald Trump, who is a surgeon that became the Secretary of Urban and Housing or something like that. So the critical thing is the capacity to lead at that level of a generalist. There's no problem with getting specialists like Okonjo-Iweala did, but the key success factor of even Okonjo-Iweala is that generalist capacity. And importantly, the leader, the president, is the one that will marshal those resources, run a performance-driven government, and ensure delivery of process. Now, leave us with a parting word. The capacity of these people are not in doubt. My counsel to them is a critical ingredient that will make sense, just like the president has it in his disposition and character. We need to hear a lot of empathy in their communication. We need to see a lot of empathy in their policy framework and execution.
And a lot of delivery as well. But let me ask you about the 11 states that have not been, where we've not seen any nominee yet. The Constitution says it has to be at least one nominee from the 36 states of the Federation. 11 states are left. We know that two already, in fact, in some states, they already have two nominees. It does seem like, eventually, maybe in the batch B, as it were, they will be nominated. But that looks like a really large cabinet. And some are already talking about the cost of governance.
No, it's not a large cabinet. It has been there. First of all, the constitutional provision is there. Like you rightly said, the president has informed Nigerians that the other states, the nominees will come out. If you go back from 1999 to date, due to political exigencies and expediencies, we have some states that are represented twice. And most of the time, the president does not nominate from the point of view of that state, but to have another layer for political expediency, balance of power to say represented that political zone. So we've had that during the time of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo up to the time of President, Muhammad Buhari. I also foresee a restructuring of the governance framework moving forward. The cost of governance, to my mind, is not with the number of ministries, but how lean those ministries run going forward, and the behavior and character of those ministers that will hold portfolios that may end up having 30, 40 SAs and TAs. We want to see a lean management style which will be run by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has a background in private sector and public service, to know that cost of living and cost of governance is very critical to his success. I'm sure he's aware of that, and the days ahead will show us what is in his mind.
Let me get your thought, Mr. Doherty, on the screening process. I was speaking with a senator on Thursday, and he said, "Look, you don't expect them to screen a governor. How they will screen maybe a technocrat. I mean, he's been a governor, he has proven himself. He doesn't need to be taken through that very detailed and rigorous process." But a lot of Nigerians would disagree with that. And I wanted to get your thought on what, again, the standard practice should be in terms of screening.
Thank you. I think there shouldn't be any argument about that. The standard is every nominee must be screened. Whether you have been governor before, you have been minister before, you have been senator before, no, you still must pass through the requirement of the law by screening. The only thing that can happen is because those that will be screening you probably can decide to be flexible in terms of in terms of the questions and in terms of the time you will spend with them. But the law is the law. No matter who is nominated, they still need to pass through that National Assembly screening, because it's key. because you cannot say because of the fact that I've been governor before and my performance shows, and that means that I should just go free and not go through the requirement of the law. It is required that every nominee must be screened, and whatever your position in the past should not be brought into fall in this manner. So all of them must pass through the screening. The only thing is that the process of their screening can be fast-tracked in terms of because he's a known man, because he's a known performer when he gets to the National Assembly. So to me, I believe that they must pass through the screening process, because other, in the National Assembly we have new senators, we have new House of Reps members whose thoughts might be different from those that have been there before. So they have questions that are that are significant, especially in the times that we have now. So they must be given that opportunity to question the nominees.
All right, Mr. Baba Yusuf, finally for you, as we begin to wind down the conversation, what's your expectations for the screening process as well, irrespective of who is being screened?
I will take it from the question you asked my fellow panelists. Any nominee as he comes today is no longer your excellency or whatever. You are coming as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, given the privilege to serve once again. So we expect to see, first of all, the nominees coming without the air of that arrogance, to come with that simplicity and respect for the citizens of this country and the respect for the president that nominated them, to show us the seriousness, understanding the sensitivities and sensibilities of the issues of Nigeria. That is one, on the part of the nominees. On the part of the senators also, we want them to demonstrate that they understand the situation we are in this country, and they take this screening as one of the most important parliamentary functions they will perform in the 10th Assembly, choosing the ministers that will drive our economy and well-being for the next 4 years. So we don't want to see, personally, in my opinion, I don't want to see the spectacle that I saw, in the past years, in the past administration. With due respect to people of proven character, like we have mentioned, we've showered accolades to them. But this thing should be done properly to show respect to the Constitution, and for people to be screened properly. Knowing their antecedents is okay, but let us also confirm to those that are not happy. Let us not forget, the number of the people that voted for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that the people that didn't vote for him, the numbers are more than the people that voted for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And that should be a key underlining consideration for the nominees and for the senators, to know that they need to do what they should do to comfort everybody, so that we have a united front in supporting the president and supporting the administration. So I want to see a thorough screening of every individual. I know there's a proviso with regards to the lawmakers that they will bow and go, but I just expect that even before someone bows and go, he says something that will show us he was not just a seat warmer, in the assembly.
And able to do the job. We'll see how the screening process goes, and we're also awaiting the final list of nominees. Thank you so much for talking to us. Mr. Baba Yusuf, a policy analyst, who joined us from Abuja studio, and also the APC chairman, APC United Kingdom, Tunde Doherty, who joined us via Zoom. Thank you both for talking to us.